Hey, today we have a long-handled vintage Gillette super adjustable. That's what they were called. What we kind of refer to them these days is a Black Beauty, since they have a black handle. It's metal underneath this, whatever material this is, and there are some more recent ones that have a black plastic undercarriage right there, and I don't really like to keep plastic if I can in my inventory. So I made sure that I got one that was a little bit older so that it would last a lot longer, at least in theory. Have these nice tall numbers on the adjustment dial. I've got this set for a 4, and I have just put a Gillette Platinum blade in it. Platinum often does a good job for me. 3 is usually the setting I often gravitate toward with the Gillette vintage adjustables. And I believe this guy is going to shave pretty close to a slim. Fat Boy has a slightly different head design, and so its setting might be different. I believe the slim and the super here are pretty analogous. I want to set it on a 4 just to see how it starts out. It's been a while since I've used this particular razor. Got a little bit more than 24 hours growth on me, by maybe 1 or 2 hours. I'm going to revisit a soap that I've tried in sample form, and then recently I got a great deal on getting actually a full tub, and I don't have a lot from Holy Cow, and that is how you pronounce it. I don't have a lot from them because they really major in a lot of floral scents, and or at least heavy floral components to some manly things that kind of overwhelm the manliness, And there are definitely a good bit of guys out there who gravitate toward that type of scent. Platinum here, and it's got about 15 uses. Put it over here. And that's fine. Each to his own. I find it curious as to why so many wet shavers like feminine type floral scents. For instance, you walk into Walmart in a cologne area and you're not going to find very many feminine and floral scents for men. So it seems to be a little off, and I've voiced it one time, but everybody always interprets it like, what are you saying that guys can't shave with floral scents? I'm just wondering why this difference. And one thing somebody said was that the tradition in wet shaving, over in the past, guys didn't want to smell like leather and rubber and wood and fire and some of these masculine things we've got going on today. They wanted to smell floral because that means they had been to the barber and gotten a fresh shave, or they were clean, all these sorts of things. This was back when being clean was a lot harder to do. And so maybe that's why. It's just part of the tradition that's come down. And so some guys gravitate toward that because maybe that's how the barbershop smelled when they went to the barbershop and watched their dad get a straight razor shave or whatever was available. And so that, maybe that's the whole point. Maybe that's all of it. I don't know. But I definitely don't gravitate toward those scents that have a high feminine type genre or high floral content. We're going to be using the Duke 3 today, Best Badger. It's a Simpson brush that I've got on loan, so I definitely want to enjoy it while I can. Had this guy soaking for a little while. And water is cold today. The weather had a shift. Tap water is cold. Some people believe that maybe the cold can help the hairs on your face stand up straighter instead of being all floppy and stuff. We'll see. Who knows? And cold can also reduce swelling in your face. Sometimes if you put a hot towel on your face as part of what you think is a good shave, then that can puff up your skin. And if your skin's puffed up around the hair follicles, then you're not going to be able to get cut down as close. That's another reason people have given for cold shaves. Some people actually do ice cold shaves where they cool down their water even more than what's on the tap. I just shave with whatever comes out of the cold tap. This Pasha's Pride, I love the scent. I've had it as a sample before. I think I mentioned that. But it's in the new Water Buffalo base, new-ish from Holy Cow. And it does have tallow, donkey milk, shea butter, lanolin, hops extract. Just got a great scent to it. The leather definitely comes out. Maybe a little tobacco, some oud. Don't quite pick up the lime. Do I pick up any citrus? Maybe. But it's also got tangerine, grapefruit, sandalwood, and some spices. And I just think it's a terrific blend. I'm really happy they put this together. My face has been moistened. Let's pull this brush out and do a 20-second load. I'm going to shake most of the water out of the brush. If you want to start with more water, not have to add it back in later, sometimes it's a shortcut to not shake as much out. It's up to you. Try it all kinds of ways. See what you like best. This puck has not been used for a while. All right, so 20 seconds and start at 15 there. We'll go until 35. If you do one soap for a while, sorry, I had an alarm come in. I think that's about 25 seconds. 20 seconds. I don't know. My phone got interrupted with an alarm, and so that messed up my timing, but that's all right. You can't hold on to the precision so much that you don't enjoy your shave. I do like to be precise sometimes, not because of my own psychoses, but if I keep objective measurements, then that translates easier to you and being able to recreate good lathers if you're struggling. But if you found a way, whatever way it is, to get good lathers, then more power to you, and you don't need to pay attention to my numbers. So this is a short-handled brush, probably better suited for face lathering. My fingers usually get pretty soapy, as the handle does, with mixing soap up in a bowl with this brush. This is a very scrubby brush, the Best Badger here. I've been told that you can bump up to Select Badger, I think is the next one. Super Badger for Simpson. Super Badger is the next one up. But then you are also going to get a higher density knot. And so sometimes for people like me who don't like a lot of backbone, that may be too much density for you. Matter of fact, I like the density with this brush, though I think the tips are a little bit more on the scrubby side and not quite all that soft. At least that's how I felt 3 shaves in with this guy. Then, after I talked to the awesome dude who loaned it to me, he said try it with some different soaps. And because I was using it with Stirling, because I was on a Stirling kick of I want to see how long it takes me to use up Stirling. Like in per day, what's my drop? And it's not very much, I'll tell you that. Kind of like it was with Chiseled Face in the month of August. But so I switched and did a shave the other day. Maybe it was yesterday's shave with Declaration Grooming Icarus Base, and it was a wonderful soap. Admiral. Oh, that was a good one. I enjoyed that scent on my face for hours after the shave. And my wife gave it a not bad, which is pretty high praise coming from her. So let's see how this Holy Cow, it is widely regarded as one of the top tier bases, top tier soap makers. Let's see if their soap base will take this brush and make him have soft tips, just like the Declaration Grooming did. It's wonderful to try out this Simpson's brush. Long history in the shaving world. I think they're probably taking some hits lately. There are definitely pockets of the internet, forums and such, that speak highly of Simpson brushes and really get on your case if you start to say how there are just so many other cheaper, better alternatives. or brushes that do kind of the same thing but are a lot cheaper. And so you'll get harassed a little bit sometimes, but there are definitely other places where you won't see Simpsons used very much at all. Who knows? It might be the right brush for you. They are a little expensive, and there are just a lot of brushes out there that are available. Let us add just a little bit more water. 1.5 teaspoons is how much I've added in. So if let's say I'm a fan of Stirling soap and I just use it all the time. They have such a big, and I am a fan. But let's say I used it only. And I used, I collected from their various huge library of scents and had a nice scent collection that I enjoyed, but mainly it was just the one base. I would have a very different opinion on this brush than some other people. So somebody might regard that if they used the Declaration soap, or maybe if they mixed their lathers really dry and had them very thick, then that might serve to mitigate the scrubbiness of the bristles. And so they might regard this as a soft brush. And so then I might, on the internet, see that opinion and buy one of these brushes and then get it back and realize, this is not soft. So the wet shaving world can be fraught with variables. So just do your education, do your research as best you can. Throw a little water on my face. Cold water. Whew. I'm glad I'm not about to go to sleep like I so often am when I'm shaving, because this is very bracing. I didn't soak the brush this time for as long as I have previously to get good shaves. That's another thing that helped me to get good shaves. Get a little bit more lather on my brush. So today's shave with the Black Beauty is a request from Mike, a viewer. I've interacted with him many times in the comments. Created some good knowledge. He just recently got in a group of razors and stuff that he's going to enjoy going through. Some vintage pieces. A gem micromatic. That guy, boy, is so aggressive. At least for me. And for a lot of guys, so I believe I could objectively say that. But if Mike's got super tough skin, he may not have a problem at all. This lather looks like I've mixed up a little on the wet side. I don't like it when the lather is just throwing around like that. It's just kind of messy. But that often means that my lather is going to be really slick. That is a good thing. But he's got a couple of super speeds, and can't remember what else. But those will be fun to play around with and shave with. Those super speeds sometimes have a little chatter, and but often, I mean, guys use those for decades and decades. So we've got the Platinum in here, set at the 4. Let's just see what the 4 feels like with a Gillette Platinum. I immediately noticed it being a little on the scratchy rough side, scrapey. So I raised the handle to open up that angle, which makes for a more shallow blade angle. And was instantly rewarded with a much more comfortable stroke. this is definitely a really thin lather. I may go back to my soap puck and just get a couple of seconds of more soap on the brush just so that my next pass. This base, I think, just looks a little different than I'm used to seeing a soap base. You know, I'm not used to its appearance, and so it kind of tricked me a little bit. I was thinking maybe I shouldn't have added that last half teaspoon, that the 1 teaspoon maybe should have been it, and I think I was right. But I mean, I'm getting slick shaves here, so it's not too much of a problem really, but I think it would feel a little nicer and the razor would move across my skin a little smoother. And I'm going to back down the setting to a 3 now that I've taken down that first pass. You know, probably 90% of the hair has now been cut. All right, so we got the soap puck, and I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, let that be it. And then scrub around in my bowl just a little bit to kind of get some more lather. We'll see if it thickens up a little bit. Not too much. What I hate about the lather flopping down on my shirt is that it's not getting on my face. I'm not able to enjoy that lather. That's what I hate about it. Not necessarily that it's making a mess. All right, you know what? I think maybe I shouldn't have gone back to the bowl. Let's do another couple of seconds there. Come on now. Man, that's frustrating. Well, I find that frustrating. And that's one of the things I don't like about face lathering is I have all this extra lather on that first pass that gets around on my goatee, gets on my ears, and you just have to wash it down the tubes. Whereas when I bowl lather and I've got a good, nice bowl of 3 or 4 or 5 passes of lather, I just don't have it flying around and getting wasted. Yeah, this is thickened up a little bit. It's not thickening up in terms of a foam, but I don't really feel like working it anymore. So, you know, you can't win them all. I hate the way this lather is just flying everywhere. Maybe I need to have some better notes on this Bufala base. Well, at least I'm enjoying the scent, right? Just ran it a little bit too thin. What am I smelling now? The leather? Maybe the oud? Yeah, that leather's nice and strong. Not too much of the citrus, but I'm sure it's there in a supporting, maturing role. Sandalwood, maybe. Yeah, I smell something woody. So, I mean, that's just one of the reasons I like this scent so much. I just need to get better at dialing it in. All right, and let me not forget, Captain Murphy, I believe, is a guy who takes apart these kinds of adjustables and cleans them for you. Maybe adjusts them, adjusts the gap in case it's been dropped and bent or something. I don't know if he still does it, but he is definitely known on the shaving forums as somebody who takes care of that. He says that he has been in these razors so much and looking in the mechanism, he believes there's nothing wrong at all with adjusting the tension, adjusting the aggression settings, even when it is tightened. Well, when I go to tighten, my fat boy especially, and it gives me some resistance, I may believe him, but I always loosen mine and adjust it that way. Well, the platinum is doing really well in this razor. I backed it down to 3 and it's been very nice. I could probably, if I went the wrong direction, I could probably give myself some razor burn. But other than that, it would be hard. I like this 3 setting. It seems very efficient. It's comfortable still. All right, for this last pass, why don't we just go for a little bit more soap, and I can even dribble a little bit of water on it. Kind of treat it more like a face lather. See what happens. That'll be good enough to shave with. I am getting somewhat nice slickness during the rinses and between passes, so that's cool. Just lay down a little thin layer there and that should be good. Other soaps, this one kind of tends to stay kind of low. Other soaps would have, in my rescuing attempts there, would have puffed up and given me some lather. And this one's just a little different, and it's just the way it was designed to be. And so other soaps would have been rescued a little easier. All right, we'll keep it at a 3 for this third pass. So the platinum is a very good blade for this razor, for my skin at least. Now I feel like I could definitely have the handle of the razor, if I wasn't careful, too close to my skin, and it just wouldn't give me a very good cut. And so I watch for that, because I think maybe for this razor the most efficient angle for these settings is one where the handle's a little farther out than my usual. Nice cut. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of this extra lather and go that direction. It almost has an against the grain component to it to see if I can get this little buggy section right here that is often so tricky. All right, that'll have to be good enough. It's very presentable. I like to see if I can get it to where I just see the tips and I don't have any length visible. That's my goal. I don't go for baby butt smooth, BBS. That's often an effort in futility for me. So I definitely ended up with a lather that was more runny than I usually prefer. It was still serviceable. I still got nice slick shave. The razor moved across easily. I got a close cut. I still didn't quite get what I wanted to right there. But I like the 3. I think that's a good setting for me. Comfort and cutting efficiency. I think with the 4, it was I especially noticed too that I needed to open up the handle to maybe a 45-degree angle instead of a typical 35 or something. And so for me, that seems to be the way it works, especially for this blade. It could be different for another blade, maybe. But I'm happy with the cut. Very comfortable. Let's throw on a splash. We'll do Dunshire. Change my mind from a splash. We'll do a balm here. So Mike, there you go. A super adjustable from Gillette, a vintage one. This is the R year, and I believe that is in the early 70s. And there we go with Dunshire. I don't know how it's pronounced. So the Stirling often leaves me with kind of a white film there because of the balm nature, the lotion nature of it, but it's gone in just a few minutes. And I love the scent. This particular one is supposed to be inspired by Acqua di Gio from Armani. And I like that cologne a lot. All right, so there we go. Good shave. Face feels good. Invigorated by the cold. If you have a really dense brush, and this is not super dense, if you're a cold water shaver, you might find yourself needing to bring in some warm water to do the rinsing, and that will help you to rinse a little faster, because I have a couple of dense knots, some haggard, super high density, that sort of thing, and those guys, I tell you what, it took me forever, and then I realized it was because I was doing it with just really cold water, and so that's just natural the way cleaning works. So I brought the hot in to be in the warm category, or at least a lukewarm category, and then it rinsed fine like normal. All right, but this kind of average density knot is not really affected too much by that. All right, well, the platinum is a good match for this guy. I wonder if I could knock it down to a 2 and just have a super, super comfortable smooth shave that would be comfort focused, and that would still hopefully be close cutting enough. That might be a good thing to try someday. This is the long handled version, and interestingly enough, I thought, and I still think that when I look at this, the long handle might offer more ballast on the end here and more balance, but it doesn't seem to. I guess the end here is just kind of a hollow metal that doesn't really change the weight balance too much. It's still, balance point is still kind of right around the adjustment ring right there. It doesn't really feel like an encumbrance at all, like it's off balance when you're shaving, because then your face is bearing part of the weight. So it works out. It just feels odd sometimes in the hand. All right. I ended up using the whole 2 teaspoons of water. Probably should have stopped at adding 1 teaspoon, because I did go back and load a couple more times from the soap, and that's why I kept adding some more water. But there we go. We got a platinum put in this razor, and this is a razor that is a memory for me, because I got a hold of my grandpa's old razor. It was the short handle version of this, but unfortunately I lost it. But even just the seeing the same model that he used brings back memories. And I do have the short handled version back in my room somewhere as well. And so I have both, and I enjoy both. So there we go. That's an Gillette adjustable. These guys can usually be found on eBay or on used areas for maybe $35, roughly, give or take a few dollars here and there. If it's got a case, you might expect to pay $5 or $8 more. If it's in poor health, then you could expect to pay a little bit less. Sometimes a razor will look really crappy, but you take it home, brush it with some toothpaste, soak it in some dishwater with Blue Dawn in it, hot. You can also scrub it with, soak it for a few minutes in scrubbing bubbles, the kind without bleach. And a lot of times just those acts of cleaning can restore a lot of dirt and grime and bring back a lot of the good parts to the razor. And then all of a sudden you've got a razor in really good condition. So, but then sometimes the person has dropped it and has put it on eBay. And so something's bent and or something has, some other wound has happened to it. The adjustment dial won't work. Sometimes it's a crapshoot. I've had very good luck with my eBay purchases. And so I don't mind risking that every once in a while. But so here's the inside of the super adjustable. The underside. Just kind of a patterned, I don't know if that's, I don't think it's painted. Don't quite know what the black on the surface is. Maybe it is painted. It does have a end cap there. I think I've seen some end caps that had a black something on the end cap there too. It does have end caps here to cover up the two arms that go underneath. And there we go, super adjustable, long handle version. There's a number associated with it, 109, 106, something like that. I think though but I never learned to match because I just call it a Black Beauty long handle, super adjustable. So there we go. One day I'll look those numbers up, see what they are. So this Platinum did have about 15 uses on it, but you can see it still performed really well. Really happy with it. Face still feels good, maybe a little bit of irritation, but not very much at all. So we're looking at a good shave today. And there's a little red streak right here that I sometimes get, and I don't even feel it, but it just shows up. But I don't care as long as I don't feel it. All right, great shave by an old razor. And I think these vintage Gillette adjustables are just terrific buys. I think everybody should have one of them. And be able to play around with aggression settings, and whether you like you can roll down to the smooth section if you feel like being comfortable that day. You can roll back up and get really efficient, have a high gap, a large gap, where maybe you have to raise that handle up a little bit perhaps, and play around with a lot of blade feel. And it's a great way to be able to communicate with other users online because so many people have these razors. If you want another razor, you're thinking about experimenting, you could say, I like shaving with my Slim at a 3, but I think I'd really like to try to find another razor that makes me feel more like a 5. I try something more aggressive, like maybe at what a Slim 5 would feel like. And that's an objective measurement that other people can try to use to help you. All right, well, I hope there's something today in this shave that has helped you out. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Bye.